Welcome to the 1876 Sports and Culture Podcast. Let's start the show with something that I am very glad to hear, and that is President Ruth Simmons will be staying at Prairie View A&M University in some capacity.
Oh, life. We ain't letting her go.
Y'all just say bump it. You need to put a house on PV if you want her to stay there.
They're actually talking about the next. They're talking about building a presidential house on campus again. Actually, that needs to be her crib.
Oh,
yeah, man. So, what's the background story?
Well, she's going to be a professor. She basically was ready to, kind of just support financially and generating money and really getting her time back. But the chancellor understood the benefits of having her associated with the university and essentially refused to let her walk away. And they came up with agreement, and she pretty much got what she wants, which would be a professor, meaning she can come in and lecture a class maybe once a week, have relationships with students, build relationships, generate funds, and, and kind of have her own time as well and do the other things she likes to do. So best of all worlds for a lot of people involved. So I think it's a perfect situation when you're talking about somebody of Ruth Simmons' age, but still having the connection she has and the motherly experience that she'll bring to the campus of Prairie View A&M University, and especially the students.
Yeah. Is that not intimidating to the next president?
Damn them. I'm not worried about it, not concerned about it.
I think if you get the right person, the leadership should actually welcome it. Anytime, look, whether you're talking military or otherwise, if you have somebody that's a veteran that's right there on your support staff, that's a huge gem. So
I think it's really a good question, and it depends on the person that's coming in.
Yeah.
And you have some people that will be, if they're experienced president, it's not going to be a big deal. If they're not experienced president, then it could be somebody that's looking over their shoulders. Be honest with you, I would not necessarily want to be the next president following after Ruth Simmons just because of the magnitude of what she brought to the table. Obviously, anytime you can become a president of a university, you have to take it and you just run with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there could be pros and cons to that situation. I've seen presidents on other campuses, and essentially they just go to their own room. Don't get involved with stuff. So if anything, it's going to be their own personal somebody that's kind of looking over their shoulder. It won't be the person that is retiring, if you would, that pushes any type of agenda.
Yeah, to me, if you are a person worth your weight, I don't understand how you could possibly be threatened by a 76-year-old ex-president who wanted to retire 5 years ago. If you come in with the right intentions and you're qualified, then you shouldn't be worried about it. If anything, you should welcome having that sounding board right next door.
Yeah, but to Doc's point, if a person feels like they're still trying to make a name for themselves, they could easily feel like they're operating in the shadows. So it's a personal thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure. I mean, you got to be realistic. Simmons' light on the university is huge.
Yeah.
So to suggest that anybody can walk in and won't think about it twice, I mean, everybody around there is going to compare every decision the person makes and everything to what Ruth Simmons was doing. So it's not going to be easy to do. It doesn't mean you can't continue to push forward, but yeah, it's certainly going to be a huge shadow on anybody.
For us, that is a huge advantage. And now that y'all bring it up, I hadn't even thought about that piece. To me, as alumni, that's an advantage that I want the next president to be consistently looking over their shoulder and looking at that calculator. Well, President Simmons roars this much. Man, I need to get on it. That's the way I look at it. But going back to her negotiation tactics, she'll be a professor, but she is not attached to a certain department, which will allow her to flow back and forth and teach any subject matter in any department that she chooses.
I don't know how that works in a university.
Hey, she said, my name is President Simmons, it's going to happen.
She said, watch me work.
No, I'm just saying realistically. You're just talking about stuff. But I'm saying in the university system, when you're creating a schedule, you just don't create a schedule and somebody comes up and talks to you. You really have associated hours associated that you're doing with. You have a budget. So I'd imagine at some point she at least will be have some general framework of what department she is at least aligned with. To just say that somebody's gonna float around, that in terms of just traditional university framework is not something that's easy to do.
Yeah.
Well,
we shall
this
see.
is where you think out the box
Yeah.
and make it happen.
Well,
Because
I mean, but I know you're saying that, and that sounds good, but that's just like anybody in a corporate job. That would just be like somebody that's an ex-CEO and saying, all right, they're just gonna be in any department. Yes, it sounds good. It sounds, but it's different when you're trying to actually manage that situation. And I'm not saying that you can't manage it, but I just hate for us to get to the point where we just throw things out there like it's supposed to happen, and we're not doing it in a realistic thought process about how do you align things in managing a process. That's all I'm saying.
hey, yeah, we'll let them figure it out, man. They threw it out there. They being, you know, the announcement came from the A&M system, so we will let them
Right,
figure
right.
it
And
out.
I'm not saying they won't be able to figure it out, but I'm saying the point that you made is that she'll just be able to go and teach any class in any department. I'm saying that specific statement is not really realistic.
Well, we shall see. But on the topic of Ruth, another thing that we learned this week is that President Biden named her to his HBCU council.
Yeah,
But
it keeps
but
getting gooder and gooder.
for Dr. Simmons and all those attached to Dr. Simmons, you're absolutely correct. I am still kind of baffled. I'm sorry, excuse my ignorance, but what is this HBCU council supposed to do? Like,
I don't know.
what
honestly.
are we supposed to gain from this? I don't know, Doc. You're in academia. I mean, what should this council? What should
for
we
lack of
expect
better
from this
words, the
council?
way that you would think about it is a think tank. It's a group of individuals that are associated with universities. They usually are people that have had high academic either careers or being presidents, provosts of that. And what you would hope this group would be able to do is really talk about the day-to-day operations of a university and how it is maybe unique to a HBCU, and how the federal government can provide assistance in things that they may not consider with other folks that just generally think about universities and don't think that's a problem. And it is. I will say this: it is always good to have a voice and a seat at the table to try to help facilitate change. Now, we know that government in itself is a slow fossil and change doesn't happen fast. And if you're one of these people that are about fight the power and about, really changing from that perspective, no, that's not what you're doing here. This is just trying to align yourself to maybe make sure that you get a couple of extra dollars from a federal government or some specific strategies that may help
Specific targets or something
policies.
like that.
Yeah.
So
That I understand. I just, timing of it all just always makes me curious, right? I don't like feeling that we're being patronized as I know that the council was well in play before we start getting into all these polling numbers, right? But I don't start patronizing the Black vote, we're just stacking the deck. So that's what I'm just concerned about.
I think you're gonna always get a patronizing framework. We live in America, and it's controlled by a government that's not really for the people in general. It's for rich people. So that's real. You're gonna have that. But also, I think we forget sometimes that these think tanks, they're not new. They're not new. They have these things every year with every president. Yeah. And usually they're just quiet. What is happening now is we have a lot more people that are digging into HBCUs and putting up front. So information that used to be quiet that you didn't see or didn't read, now all of a sudden you're reading it. And so if you're not careful, you think it's new, but it's not new.
Okay.
So my thing is, I was thinking the same things you were thinking, Roland. At the end of the day, I'm like, we need money. Like, do you need a think tank to come up with the assumption that HBCUs are underfunded? Like, that's known. We know this. So
no, you don't. But it's the same reason
disproportionately underfunded.
It's the same reason you never got money. If you don't have people that push your agenda and make sure that you get a piece of the pie, just because you need money doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Yeah.
You have to have folks in this country and in this government, the way it works. If you don't have a voice that says this is important and this is part of your constituent, you're going to get left behind because people don't ask for it. And so
So make the
difference
ask.
of what this is that you have these people in place that can strategically push agenda about HBCUs.
And make the ask. And they know what the ask. I'm assuming they will know how much the ask needs to be, unlike some people.
Well, it's a pretty, impressive mix of individuals. So, I would assume they know the agenda.
I got one question. One person who I wanted to ask y'all about is Taraji. So I know she's an alum of Howard, but I wonder, is she plugged in to know the financial component and other things of that nature with Howard? I assume she is, since they put her on it, but just wondering.
Taraji, isn't she an activist?
Probably not. I mean, but it's 100 plus HBCUs. Each HBCU ask is going to be unique in terms of what they need, particularly for a specific example.
Yeah.
And so that's the part when you say make an ask, you can ask for a certain amount, but then what this committee will talk about in a lot of ways is who will get what and
Well,
when.
we understand that. But when you're talking about Howard, the list of people that you could have chosen from, I'd find it curious that Taraji P. Henson was the one that they promoted for this role. That's all I'm saying. I'm just curious about how that
she
happened.
got that Jody power.
No, I would say in a lot of ways, these people that usually get these jobs, they've quietly been in the background and connected with some type of political framework. They're connected.
That's what I was
with
saying.
somebody.
I think she is an activist. I can't put my
So
finger on it and say certain, but I do believe.
I wouldn't call her an activist, but I would say she's politically active.
Okay.
I think there's a unique difference between an activist and a politician and somebody that's politically active.
So she's been working in the background, apparently. So just curious about that. But hey, it can't be a bad thing all the way around.
Most definitely. Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout to see what this committee comes up with and the support. And if this is something that like Yada is saying, this isn't new. I don't know if this is the same, if we can go back and remember that picture that they took, the presidents took with Trump. So
exactly. I'm glad you set up.
It's essentially the same thing now that you mentioned it. Just a different dude.
Exactly.
Damn. You brought the crowd down right there.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, just in a different way. Yes.
So we see that Blueprint Improvement Group, they have signed Andrea Nugent to the NIL.
Yeah.
Or to a NIL, I should say. She's a soccer player, is that correct? Am I getting
Not just a soccer player, she is the truth. No doubt.
Nice. She's nice.
She is the truth.
Look, and shout out for Neil. This is their second round, right? We're doing NIL.
Love it.
So I love it how they're leading the way, man. There's a lot of you PV business owners out there. You can definitely come on, follow suit. It's enough players to go around.
Yeah, man. That brother Neil just jumped himself up to the top of the line in the food chain with PV alumni. He done gave out the second NIL deal, and he's being extremely fair about it too. But let's be clear again. We ain't talking about no slouch. Ms. Nugent has done the thing from the day she stepped on campus. She's one of the best soccer players in the country.
Yeah.
So, man, good shout out to Neil. We appreciate you, brother. If no one else has told you already, but you are appreciated by PV Nation.
Hey, make sure he eat first.
For sure. He get the big piece of chicken.
Let me circle back to as we continue to talk about Ruth the Truth. So we've talked about her replacement, but we didn't necessarily talk about the committee that was put together to form the search committee. So have any of you done the research on any of the members? Are we confident in this search committee? What are your thoughts so far? You're looking, Roland, this look on your face, you don't seem confident here.
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you this. Number one, let me preface this. I'm completely oblivious to the process, right? I think this is probably the closest I've ever watched the process of us finding a new president. What it has sparked in me is a little bit of, I don't even know the word, but I don't want someone force fed down my throat again. I at least want to feel like that we have a say or some type of skin in the game, or the person has some skin in the game with who we select. I feel like any other institution, the alums get a voice. Does this list represent enough of our voices, of our 70,000 voices? I can't just say it does, but it's who they chose, and I got to put my faith in them. Now, I will be vocal. When we get to talking, I will be very vocal in terms of who I feel would be a great candidate. And I would be very disappointed if we do not see Dr. Shannon Marquez on this list. This is my personal, this is not 1876, this is my personal stamp of recommendation, because show me somebody that's close.
Say that name again. Let the people go and look up her credentials.
Dr. Shannon Marquez. She is a mechanical engineering major. She plays Delta. She graduated in 3 years. She played basketball for PV.
She got a master's from A&M.
Master's from A&M.
What is her current title?
Yeah, that's
currently she is the director. She's over global engagement. So basically, she runs the international studies program for Columbia University. So she has the Ivy League pedigree. She has personally raised over $150 million in endowed money. So she understands the game of raising money. And oh, by the way, she's one of PV's own. Like, when do you get that opportunity again? When you get that opportunity? You know, we were blessed. Let me be very clear. We were blessed and very fortunate to get Dr. Simmons. Again, these are my views. I don't know if we'll be that fortunate again if we leave this up to somebody who does not embrace the vision of where we as alums feel PV should be. And I'm gonna go, because if I go any further, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Oh man, you ain't getting in trouble. Ain't nobody paying us for this. We good. Let's throw out there. So there is a 14-person board. I want to focus on the committee members who are part of the PV community. Let's focus on them. So brother Kendrick Jones, 2018 graduate, Wiley County Commissioner, Precinct 3. Ronald Walker, class of 83. He's a interim area director of the United Negro College in Boston. Current president of the Alumni Association, Mark Falls, class of 92. And then Roy Perry, class of 78. I guess they gonna forever pull Roy Perry into everything PV.
They won't let me rest.
They won't let that brother rest. So, hey, I think we need to make sure that our committee members are extremely diligent and forceful in their viewpoint. Yeah, I understand at the end of the day, it's not going to be their final decision, but they need to be vocal. Two other people who have not been named, it will be whoever the new president of the Faculty Senate will be on that committee, as well as the new president of the student body when those elections are pending. So the new student body president will be on this selection committee. And I hope that I'm assuming they're going to probably be under 22, 21. I hope they're not intimidated by being on a board with these older folks. And the way I know these young folks, they don't give a damn their age.
No, they don't care. They don't bring any.
They're going to bring the heat.
They're going to go toe to toe with you.
And I love it.
Okay.
But again, I think we need to force our opinions and let them be known, and don't allow anyone to have the ability to say, we didn't know what y'all's opinion and preference was.
Yep. There you go. That's I guess that's all you can ask for.
There you have it. So we'll definitely, again, I'm praying and hoping that, and again, like we just said, we know that we likely will not get another President Ruth Simmons, but you know, this next person, we just don't want to take a steep fall, right? Yeah. We just want to be able to build.
It's a critical move. It's definitely a critical hire, you know, because you have to find the absolute right person to fit that big.
and then someone who understands HBCUs. As much as I feel the previous, was it President? I forgot
Right.
the poor man's name.
Right.
Yes.
He was forgettable. It's okay.
But I do think that, I remember meeting him one time, and my concern was that he was not an HBCU graduate, and he lived out my concern. But with that, let's talk about quickly. Let's talk about quickly, just so our spring game football is going to be April 23rd. I don't know if you all saw the clip yesterday. So Grambling had their spring game, and I was amazed at
It was
like a
the
fall
number
game.
of fans they had at a spring game.
It was a couple of thousand deep out there for
Yeah.
sure.
Look, tell them and don't
So-
start with ain't nothing else to do in Grambling. Yeah, we know that,
No,
but they still showed up to the
They
game.
still showed up. You can always find something to do.
Yeah.
Let's not get it
So-
twisted.
So fans, mark your calendars. April
more than 2,000 of
23rd.
y'all
What time?
right
What
there in
time is? What
Cypress.
time is the game?
Oh, you would hold up. Hold, please. Somebody give me elevator music.
While he looks for that. So again, you know the date.
Maybe 9 o'clock.
It's
Be there at 9
Saturday,
a.m. How
April
about that?
23rd. What time is it?
Be there at 9 a.m.
What time tailgating started, Joe?
Yeah, when you get there at
He
9
said 9
a.m.
a.m.
Alumni Affairs will be sponsoring the tailgate. And I don't know, let's as we have before in the past, let's issue a challenge to PV fam, the PVU fan base. All those excuses are played. The time is now to put 100% of your time and attention behind Prairie View A&M athletics. A lot of folks out here are always talking about, why don't we go after these big recruits? Why don't we offer to 4- and 5-star recruits? Well, you need to have a 4- and 5-star recruit program, and part of that is fan support.
And
4
it's
and
definitely
4
part of the program.
Yeah, 4- and 5-star recruits don't want to show up to an empty stadium, regardless of spring game, homecoming game, regular season game, whatever. If you want a big time program, then we need to support big time.
And there you have it. And we'll be back to talk some spring sports.